If you are over 50 and feel like your body is aging faster than it should, this video is going to change the way you think about why. Because the speed at which your body ages after 50 has far less to do with your genetics than with a small collection of daily habits. Habits so ordinary that most people never think to question them. Stay with us for habit number 1. When we looked at what the research actually says about it, the findings were genuinely alarming. Leave a comment below with your name, your age, and where you are watching from. We read every single one. Now, let's get into it. Habit number 7. Eating less protein as your appetite shrinks. After 50, your muscles become significantly less responsive to the protein you eat. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. The same amount of protein that maintained your muscle mass at 40 no longer does the same job at 60. And because appetite naturally decreases with age, most older adults eat less overall, which means protein quietly disappears from the plate first. The result is sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. Adults who are not deliberately maintaining protein intake can lose up to 1% of their total muscle mass every single year. Compounded over a decade, that is the difference between a body that carries you and one that holds you back. A landmark paper in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults need nearly double the protein most people think they do to counteract this loss. What to do instead? Make protein the first priority at every meal, not an afterthought. Eggs at breakfast, a full palm of chicken, fish, or legumes at lunch and dinner. Spread it across the day, because your muscles can only effectively use around 30 to 40 grams per meal for rebuilding. This is structural maintenance, not a diet. Protein alone will not protect you if you are consistently doing what habit number 6 describes. And most people over 50 are doing it and calling it a personality trait. Habit number 6. Treating sleep as optional. There is a version of this we all recognize. The person who wears light sleep as a badge of productivity. 5 or 6 hours, no problem. Always have. What that person does not know is what is quietly happening inside their body every single night they fall short. During deep sleep, your body releases the majority of its daily growth hormone, the primary signal it uses to repair muscle, consolidate bone, and clear inflammatory waste from the brain. When you cut this short, night after night, you are not just tired the next day. You are preventing repair of the cellular damage that accumulates around the clock. A large-scale study in Nature Communications followed nearly 500,000 adults and found that sleeping 6 hours or fewer was associated with a 30% higher risk of developing multiple chronic conditions simultaneously. Chronic undersleepers are measurably older at the cellular level than their calendar age. The biology does not care how productive they feel. What to do instead? Treat your sleep window like a medical appointment. Consistent bedtime, a cool room around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. No screens in the 60 minutes before bed. If you wake frequently through the night, speak to your physician about sleep quality, not just duration. Here is what makes habit number 5 particularly cruel. It can silently undo the benefit of your sleep and your morning exercise in a single afternoon. Habit number 5. Sitting for long stretches without getting up. When you sit for 60 to 90 unbroken minutes, the enzyme responsible for breaking down fat in your bloodstream drops by nearly 90%. Blood flow to your legs slows dramatically, and your body's ability to regulate blood sugar deteriorates in a way that exercise earlier in the day cannot fully compensate for. A study in Diabetologia found that after just 1 hour of continuous sitting, blood sugar regulation becomes meaningfully impaired in adults over 50. Even in people who exercise regularly. You can walk in the morning, spend 8 hours seated, and cancel out a significant portion of the metabolic benefit. The body does not bank movement, it requires it continuously. What to do instead? The solution is not a standing desk. It is interruption. Research from Maastricht University found that 2 minutes of light movement every 20 minutes produced dramatically better metabolic outcomes than one continuous 30-minute walk. Set a timer. Stand up. Walk to the window. The body does not need intensity in these breaks. It needs circulation. Even if you are moving regularly, habit number 4 is the one that determines whether your body can actually protect itself when it matters most. And almost everyone avoids it for the wrong reason. Habit number 4. Avoiding resistance training because it feels risky. Picture the moment a fall begins. Not the impact, the half-second before it. The foot catches a curb, the body tilts, and the muscles around the hip have a fraction of a second to fire with enough force to pull everything back. Whether they can do that depends almost entirely on whether they have ever been trained to. After 50, the fast-twitch muscle fibers that control reactive, explosive strength atrophy 3 to 5 times faster than the fibers that walking exercises. Gentle movement does not touch these fibers. Only progressive resistance does. A meta-analysis in the British Journal of Sports Medicine reviewed 49 studies and found that resistance training in adults over 60 reduced the risk of all-cause mortality by 23%. Lifting something with effort, regularly and correctly, extends life. What to do instead? You do not need a gym. Body weight squats, wall push-ups, resistance bands, step-ups off a low stable surface. The critical word is progressive. The resistance must gradually increase or adaptation stops. Every 2 weeks, make it fractionally harder. That signal is all your muscles need to hear. Habit number 3 is one that almost every older adult underestimates because the body actively hides the problem until the damage is done. Habit number 3, not drinking enough water. Think about the last time you felt genuinely thirsty. Now consider this. By the time that feeling arrives after 50, you are likely already meaningfully dehydrated. And on the days it does not arrive at all, most people simply do not drink enough. As you age, the sensors in your brain that trigger thirst lose sensitivity. Chronic mild dehydration accelerates the thinning of discs between your vertebrae, contributing directly to the back pain and height loss many people blame on aging. It thickens the blood, forcing the heart to work harder, and it degrades cognitive performance in ways frequently mistaken for age-related mental decline. A clinical review in the European Journal of Nutrition found that a body water deficit of just 1 to 2% produced measurable declines in physical performance, mood, and mental clarity in adults over 55. A 1 to 2% deficit is a normal Tuesday for most older adults. What to do instead? Stop waiting for thirst. A full glass of water upon waking, a glass before each meal, a glass mid-afternoon. The target for most adults over 50 is 2.5 to 3 liters of total fluid daily. Make it automatic, not reactive. Habit number 2 is the one that reveals a gap most people do not discover until a fall has already happened. And by then, easy prevention has already closed its window. Habit number 2, ignoring balance until something goes wrong. A man in a clinical study walked 4 miles every day. Strong cardiovascular health, no major complaints. At 71, he tripped on a garden hose and fractured his hip. During recovery, therapists tested his proprioceptive function and found it had been deteriorating for years. He had no idea. His daily walks had masked it completely on familiar flat ground. The garden hose revealed everything. Proprioception is your internal positioning system, the continuous feedback loop between your muscles, joints, and brain that tells you where you are at every moment. After 50, this system gradually degrades, And because walking is deeply automatic, most people never notice the deficit until an unfamiliar surface reveals it. The Centers for Disease Control report that 3 million older adults are treated in emergency departments for fall injuries every year. A hip fracture after 70 carries a 1-year mortality rate of up to 30%. A study in the British Medical Journal found that targeted balance training reduced fall rates by 23%. What to do instead? Stand on one leg while brushing your teeth. Walk heel to toe along a line on the floor for 30 seconds each day. Stand from a chair without using your hands and pause for 3 full seconds before moving. These are neurological drills, training the exact rapid correction reflex that catches you before a fall becomes a fracture. Which brings us to habit number 1, the one that drives every single item on this list. The one the research says is aging you faster than almost anything else, and the one most people have simply accepted as the price of being alive. Habit number 1, accepting chronic stress as simply part of life. Think about someone you know who does everything right, walks daily, eats carefully, sleeps reasonably well, and yet still seems to be aging faster than they should. There is a very good chance this is why. When your brain perceives ongoing threat, it maintains elevated cortisol output. In short bursts, cortisol is useful. As a permanent background state, it is catastrophic. Sustained cortisol elevation breaks down muscle tissue directly, suppresses immune function, and drives the systemic inflammation researchers now understand to be the primary driver of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, and cancer. Nobel Prize-winning scientist Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn demonstrated that chronic psychological stress measurably shortens telomeres, the protective structures on your DNA that function as a molecular clock of aging. Chronically stressed individuals are biologically older than their calendar age at the cellular level. This is not a metaphor. It is measurable, observable fact. And yet it is the habit most people simply accept, because it feels like the price of modern life. What to do instead? 10 minutes of slow, controlled breathing reduces cortisol measurably within a single session. Regular social connection, even a phone call with someone you trust, activates the part of your nervous system that suppresses the stress response. Time in natural environments has been shown across multiple clinical trials to lower cortisol, reduce blood pressure, and suppress inflammatory markers. Your nervous system needs a daily signal that the threat has passed. In a modern environment, it cannot generate that signal alone. You have to create it every single day. Your body after 50 is not in irreversible decline. It is responding precisely and rationally to the inputs it receives. Change those inputs, and the research is unambiguous. It adapts. It rebuilds. At any age. Start with one habit from this list, not all 7, one specific change this week. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Subscribe so you never miss what we put out next, and leave a comment below telling us which habit hit closest to home. We will see you in the next one.